I want to speak to you today in our devotion time about running hills. One of the most difficult things you'll ever do in working out is running hills. But you know what I've discovered? That's where strength comes from. That's where God's grace is made sufficient. And that's where we become more like Jesus. It's not always running downhill or being on top of the mountain that we experience revival and renewal. It's when we're going up the hill, because then we need God. It's then that we call out unto God and we say, "Oh God, I desperately need you." In Hebrews chapter 12 and verse 1, it tells us to run with endurance the race that is set before us. But then it goes on in verse 2 to say, looking unto Jesus, the author and the perfecter of our faith. And then in verse 3, it tells us what to look unto Jesus, a particular part of his life. It talks about how he was rejected, how he was persecuted, how he was nailed to a cross, and how he climbed the most difficult hill ever known to mankind, a hill called Mount Calvary. And Jesus, we look into him. He is our example. And if we're going to become like Jesus, that means we're going to face some difficult times. It's not going to be a bed of roses. It's not going to be, all ice cream and punch and just a great time in life. There's going to be some tough times. In fact, whenever I first started running, I remember I was being trained with a friend of mine, Ken Lieberg, and we had this hill that we would run. And it was so long that I gave that hill a name. In fact, you'll discover among runners when there's a real tough hill, they'll always give it a name. In Boston, in the Boston Marathon, there's a hill called Heartbreak Hill. Well, the hill that we ran in Germany I called it Difficulty, because it was so hard and so long and so difficult to get up. But you know what? Whenever I'd climb that hill, I would have to look into the Lord, and I would trust in God, and God would give me the strength to make it on top of that hill. And so when you face a difficulty in life, that's an opportunity for you to look to God. It's an opportunity for you to be made more like Jesus. The Apostle Paul said that I might know him and the power of his resurrection and the fellowship of his sufferings, being made conformable unto his death. Often we're made more like Christ during those difficult times, when we experience suffering, when we experience pain, those difficult times. So don't waste your sorrows. Don't waste your difficulties. Don't waste those hills called difficulty, but let them make you more like Jesus.